pledge allegiance, please.
Let's wait for those people to sign in. I think it's proper.
Roll call, we're all present. Are there any additions or deletions on the agenda?
No, sir. Move for approval as presented.
Second that.
Approval and a second for approved agenda. All in favor, same sign aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Passed with all present. Review and approved minutes for July 9th, 2019.
I have no corrections on it. I'd move to accept them.
I'll second that.
We got a motion to approve minutes from July 9th. All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passed with all present. Notice of public hearing. The Way Park Plan Commission will hold a public hearing at City Hall, 19th, 13th Avenue North at 6:30 or soon thereafter, Tuesday, October 8th, 2019, to hear the following request. The request of Tony Schmidt and Gary Anderson, DBA Gates Properties, LLC, for the review of preliminary and final plat of Wilderness Edition. The property is legally described as part of the northwest quarter of the northeast quarter and the east half of the northwest quarter of the northeast quarter, Section 36, Township 124, Range 29, containing 39.254 acres, more or less, all in the city of Way Park, Stearns County, Minnesota. Public hearing opened at 6:32.
Just gonna toggle over to the general location map here. This request has been submitted by Tony Schmidt and Gary Anderson, doing business as Gads Property LLC, GATS. The property is being proposed for platting ahead of anticipated development into three larger residential parcels. Platting of property must also occur prior to any new construction on it, so that's a kind of a secondary aspect that's they're looking to fulfill. The property is located on the eastern side of County Road 137 between Belclair Estates and Mud Lake. A general location map is enclosed, and that's on the screen for you at this time. The entire property is vacant and is being proposed to be configured as a three-lot, single-block subdivision. Each of the three proposed parcels exceeds the lot area standards for the applicable A1 agricultural rural residential district, that being a 10-acre minimum. They come in at 11 acres, just under 12 acres, and about 15 acres for the larger Lot 3. Department heads have reviewed the proposed plat and determined that due to the distances from the city utilities that are a ways to the north, these would be allowed to develop without utility connections and could instead use on-site well and septic systems subject to the Stearns County requirements and permitting. However, if and when city utilities would be extended to or past the area, the owners would be required to abandon those systems and connect to the city sewer and water within 1 year. Due to the property frontage being on Stearns County right-of-way, we forwarded this plat, proposed plat, to the Stearns County staff for their review and comment. That's standard fare for anything that's on county right-of-way. And it would have to be accompanied by a certificate with any required conditions on them. I haven't gotten that back, but typically we take that when it's reviewed by the city council and incorporate any comments from them into the final recommendation. As the property has not been previously platted, payment in lieu of parkland dedication would be required. Staff would be preparing a memo and recommendation to the park board for their review and recommendation to the city council. However, for residential type lots, the standard requirement in ordinance is $836 per lot. So the recommended payment in lieu of parkland dedication would be $2,508. Staff is supportive of the preliminary and final plats as submitted and proposed. As this request includes the public hearing, we can certainly open that up for comment. My recommendation would be approval of the preliminary plat and final plat with conditions as proposed. Number one, development on the property may be subject to a development agreement with the city if deemed necessary. And number two, the property is subject to requirement for payment in lieu of parkland dedication as recommended by the park board and established by a city council. Any required parkland dedication fees must be paid prior to affixing of city signatures upon the final plat. That being said, I would recommend approval of this 3-lot residential subdivision in the Ag Rural Residential District.
Have any questions, or at this time we'll open to the public. Have any questions or comments they'd like to make? Could you come up to the podium, please, and state your name and address?
Lisa Irene Manico, and I live at 3195 County Road 137. Have they addressed the wetland issue on that area?
The wetlands have been basically delineated. For anything that would be proposed to be located in the wetland, they would have to go through Stearns County review approval process. For at least the northern 2 parcels, those are probably more readily developable by having more area that's not considered wetland. The southern parcel would probably take some more work to put anything on. But it's possible, but it would have to go through Wetland Conservation Act requirements, and that's handled by Stearns County. But they have been delineated on the plat here.
Now, some of the things that you had said kind of went quickly for me. Is there somewhere we can get minutes on the meeting so we can kind of look at that better at some point
You mean after today's meeting?
after today's meeting?
Yep. Yep,
Okay.
minutes are available usually after the following meeting when they're approved, then they're updated.
The other question I had is, it sounds like it's going to be simply 3 residents?
The
That-
3 residences, up to 3. It could be less depending on how they wish to proceed, but the maximum that would be allowed in something of this size, because of the minimum 10-acre requirement, would be 3 houses, 1 on each parcel.
And then you had said something about, I realize I'm coming into this kind of naive or ignorant of
okay.
the situation. You had said something about wildlife plat. Was this something, just a name?
It's
or-
just a name. Wilderness Edition is just simply a name.
So it has nothing to do with any kind of preserve?
Not from what I
preservation
understand.
of the area? Okay. Okay, thank you.
Any else wish to share any comments or concerns or questions?
Move we've closed the public hearing.
Second?
Got a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same side. Public hearing closed at 6:39.
Mr. Chair, I would question if, under the circumstance, we don't have all the information back from the county yet with regard to some of the issues here. I wonder if we wouldn't be better off to act on the preliminary plat and maybe conduct that at a different time, the final at a different time. Do you think that's wise or not?
Generally, the feedback from the county, especially in an area like this, that's not a terribly heavily traveled road, the comments usually come in the form of, they limit the number of accesses to one per property. I would be comfortable moving forward if you are. We've done that in the past when we've had, what I would consider a fairly, straightforward plat in a more rural area that doesn't have a lot of traffic concerns or anything. If it were something like we've seen when we have had other projects on Third Street where it's a much busier area, higher traffic, multiple lanes, that if we didn't have the comments at that time, I would maybe be a little more reluctant on, knowing, of course, my computer decides it's gonna restart. But I think the comments we get back will almost assuredly be just connected with the curb cuts and that they have to get a county permit to do that. The wetlands wouldn't be addressed through any comments from Highway Department. That's not part of that.
No.
That's a separate thing.
I was just concerned that if they're going to be concerned about the location of the driveways, considering that first one, the southernmost plat, parcel is, limited access out onto the county road.
Yep.
If that would make the driveway to the second one, I'm wondering if they'll balk at that. Is that a reason to hold up on the final plat, or?
I don't think so. Any recommendation that we get from the county, we would incorporate that as part of the recommendation in the final report to the city council, and it would be addressed at that time.
Okay.
So, I mean, we always try to have it done before that time. So I don't have any concerns with it,
Okay.
not being in just yet. If you choose to wish to table it until you receive further info, that's A-okay by me, but I'm perfectly comfortable with it moving forward, and any comments we get, we'd incorporate ahead of the city council. The next city council is where we anticipate this one will be reviewed as November 4th, so we've got a couple weeks.
Sure, why don't you come up to the podium here?
Yep, come on up, Sam.
Please state your name and,
If you look at the plat, I understand that access to the county highway is very important. It is on every plat we do like this. And what we've elected to do, because there's no way we could put 3 entrances in there, I don't even think we can get 2 entrances in based off of the county's guidelines for access spacing. So what we've elected to do is put 1 entrance in, and that's on lot 2. It kind of shows up on the plat. Shared driveway entrance, it says, and it just shows an entrance coming in. And then we'll have a private ingress and egress easement across those lots. So all 3 lots will use the same entrance, and then they'll access across it. And the spacing for those, what you see on the plat on the right-hand side of County Road 137 shows the existing entrances. So the spacings for this does meet the county's guidelines for access spacing for entrances. The only other thing they potentially could come back and say is, we want 60 feet of right-of-way instead of 50 feet. There's currently a 33-foot wide right-of-way now, and the standard for this classification of road is to dedicate 50 feet, so that's what we've done. Unless for some reason they have something up their sleeve that I don't know about, they may come back and say 60, and if it is, we'll just change it to 60. So I don't see any issues from the county.
Okay.
And the wetlands shown on the plat they're delineated and approved by Stearns County. So that's all been done and shown on the plat.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, that answers my question. Thank you.
Thanks.
move to approve?
I would second that.
We got a motion to approve in a second. All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Pass with all present. Do you want to add with the conditions that were set forth?
Yes, that'd be fine.
There are 2 conditions. Now, do we have to do that again for the final, John?
No, it's, I think it's acceptable to
Do one
handle
for
both
both?
under one motion.
Okay. All right then.
So that, this, if it progresses, would be on a November 4th meeting?
That's correct. Just the way the schedule falls, we'll be bringing it to the city council November 4th, so a couple weeks out.
Any new business?
Not tonight.
Move to adjourn.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, sing with saying aye.
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 Opposed, same side. Meeting adjourned, 6:45.
Thank you, everybody.
You.